name is James P. Madonna, and welcome to the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. I am James P. Madonna of Megalife 21 and Newsletter Censored, and I am about to enter the office of my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, to do a brand new show of discussions. And this discussions is very unique because I will be doing the analysis of the pro wrestling industry. Some positive aspects from personal experience, yours truly, from my personal experience in the independent circuit, professional wrestling here in New Jersey with particularly East Coast Professional Wrestling, ECPW. I can only speak from my personal experience in the pro wrestling industry. But I will be doing this show shortly. Right now, I am in the other wing where I normally do the weekly show Health Talk. But I just want to leave you with a little tidbit. For instance, before I do the show, I'll leave you with a little bit of information. I'll leave you with a little negative information as an example based on my experience, which is all true stories. One time I placed an advertisement for ECPW, upper management, for ring girls because I noticed their nationwide TV taping did not have any ring girls. I placed an ad, and one of the females that answered the ad was none other than the lovely Steppin' Out magazine model Michelle DiCarlo. She answered the ad. Michelle DiCarlo was, along with another girl named, I believe her name was Kimara, that both of them were ring girls in the ECPW TV taping. She did the show. Okay, her photograph was taken for the website, and what happened was she personally sent me an email stating that she did not get paid not one penny for doing the show. That is one example of what we're going to discuss today on Discussions. So I'll see you later when I enter the office of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. Bye-bye. Greetings, everyone. Greetings. And welcome to Discussions. I'm your host for Discussions, James Piranha Madonna, along with my co-host and mentor, the one and only, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, and we are coming to you live from the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. It is Saturday, March 26th, 2011, with unseasonably 10 degrees lower than normal temperature. You would think it's winter, right?
Old man winter's still holding on.
Everybody's
complaining.
That's right, old man winter. It's in the low 20s, and it just won't let us go. We got teased with a touch of spring. Now, before we read some current news topics of interest from our local newspaper, the Bergen County Record, I would like to talk about something that is something I used to be involved in, but not typical of what we do here with Newsletter Censored, which was founded in 1977 by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. It's not politics, it's not religion, it's not health, because I do a show called Health Talk. It is not child rearing, it is not current news topics, it's not sexuality, or human psychology, or human nature, or anything involving like religion, Christianity, politics. No, it's professional wrestling. For over 10 years, I was involved with professional wrestling through my friend Brian Slate, also known as Tony Testosterone. I have known Brian for almost, not quite as long, but almost as long as I've known the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. He was an old customer of mine, and he is from the same town in New Jersey that I'm from. Now he, when I first met him, and I started conversing with him, he told me that he is a trained professional wrestler. He went to the Iron Mike Sharp School of Professional Wrestling. At that time, it was in Brick, New Jersey. I think it's no longer in existence. And I think he told me that Strangler Nick Maddox and Devin Storm, otherwise known as Crowbar, did go to that school. They might have started with that school. I could be wrong. But anyway, it was a good school. So anyway, because his wife, he was kind of pussy whipped, and his wife at that time, Josephine, used to bitch and moan about him going there because I guess she did not want Brian Slate to meet the hoochies that that are associated with wrestling, the valets and the ring rats, which are groupies, which are very basically like rock and roll groupies. They're very loose, have very loose morals. Many of them are gold diggers, many of them are sluts and whores. But anyway, but the same with rock and roll groupies. Everybody has their groupies. The Reverend Dr. Bill, even firemen or hockey players, whatever. Everybody.
We don't have any groupies.
Huh?
We don't have any groupies.
No, when you talk about real important, serious intellectual stuff that are important to humanity, to mankind, when you deal with the real hard-hitting truth, you don't have groupies. Anyway, this is an authentic Blackthorn weapons-grade shillelagh, imported from Ireland, by the way. It's my new prop because it represents the, just like the British monarchy oppressed the Irish for centuries, it represents what's going on today with the conservative promoted national and global corporate plutocracy that want to take away your rights and enslave you with their own form of greedy, obsessed fascism. Now, anyway, speaking of greed and stinginess and the evils of corporate America, I would like to talk about the negative aspects of professional wrestling. Now, in this case, Brian Slate got me involved with pro wrestling because we're all, even the Reverend Dr. Bill, we started off as very long-time, old-school professional wrestling fans. Like a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of pro wrestlers that go to pro wrestling schools start off as devout fans. So Brian Slate told me, well, I'll take you to the match. I happen to know about East Coast professional wrestling. He says, I know Rocky Jones and then the current owner at that time, and still is, Gino Caruso, Mr. Italy, and I'll take you to a show and I'll introduce you to people. And what happened was we started off running security with a guy by the name of Jeff Peters, who used to, well, anyway, that's another story. But anyway, it was typical pro wrestling environment. Brian Slate told me ahead of time, before I ever met anybody, he told me that professional wrestling, whether it be big-time professional wrestling with the WWE, or at that time was the NWA, WCW, TNA, whatever, professional wrestling as a whole is a very sleazy business. The workers get stiffed out of money. They're promised that they are going to receive pay, and they don't get it. They do not have health insurance if they get hurt in the ring. And he told me basically it's very petty, and people talk about each other behind their backs all the time. People are very insecure. They're egomaniacal. A lot of pro wrestlers, unfortunately, are bipolar and manic depressive, according to people that I've interviewed that used to be in the business. And Brian Slate told me, and it's all true. Actually, Gino Caruso told me himself. He says, in this business, people tend to talk about each other behind their back. And he didn't go on to talk about how insecure they were, or whether or not they were bipolar or manic depressive, but other people have told me. and other people I have interviewed from East Coast professional wrestling have admitted that, yes, the workers get stiffed. They don't get paid. Only a few popular wrestlers that have titles, very few, and most wrestlers do not get paid, and if they get hurt, they do not get compensated for their doctor bills. And the people who set up the ring, usually young guys that are just starting out, who just graduated from pro wrestling school, they set up the ring. They get, if they're lucky, they get a lousy $50 each. And that's how it is. They just get stiff. I don't know why they call it professional wrestling, because when something is a profession, you're supposed to get paid for it. But in this case, all my experiences have been with ECPW. I only know one other promoter. I cannot speak for other professional wrestling promotions. I can't, because I don't have hands-on experience about them. Concerning them, I can only tell you what I've experienced with ECPW. Now, we started out running security, doing security, and then later on, I did a show called ECPW Uncensored, which is separate from the nationwide TV taping with Gino Caruso and Godfather Joey G, which is a more family-oriented show, usually on public access TV, possibly with sponsors here and there, but you know, it's FCC controlled. You can't swear, you can't, you know, do what you want. But I was dealing, like I do with Internet Talk Radio with Mega Life 21, I'm dealing with corporate and FCC free programming, where you can say and do anything you want, basically, within reason. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, granted, I just want to come clean and say that 95% or close to 99% of the people, aside from the promoter, aside from, you know, Gino Caruso and the person I'm dedicating this show to, aside from them, most of the people in the business have been very friendly and kind and respectful to me. I have no problem with most of the people in the business. They're a great bunch of guys. You know, I'm talking about guys like the Merengue, fantastic, one of the very best cruiserweights in the business, the Merengue Warrior, the King of Lucha Libre, Frankie Flo, Nick Napoleon's a great guy, Timothy Plasma is a great guy, Tony Fiore's a great guy. They're all great guys. What happened was I befriended a famous professional wrestler who happened to be one of the stars of the Golden Globe award-winning movie titled The Wrestler, with Mickey Rourke and Marissa Tomei. The reinforcer Andrew Anderson. So we became friends, and we hung out together. At one time, it was every day we hung out. And then eventually, because I was very honest and truthful, the way I am normally, and I noticed that, you know, people talk about you behind your back, but Andrew Anderson, I was told that he was really bad-mouthing me unjustly with unfounded comments, talking about me almost to a point of obsession behind my back, and also insulting me to my face, really. I don't know what problem he had, because you know, he was questioning my abilities and intelligence and everything. And you know from my hundreds and hundreds of talk shows that we deal with very deep intellectual subjects here, myself and the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. We deal with things that are very important to humanity, and we have a lot of credentials collectively between myself and the Reverend Dr. Bill. So we have, we don't deal with the pettiness of, let's say, professional wrestling. Professional wrestling is like a soap opera for men. It's entertainment. It's sports entertainment. It's not dealing with politics and religion and serious issues concerning humanity. and it does not attract the most sophisticated, well-educated, high-class people. You know, that's just how it is. It's like, you know, let's say roller derby or boxing or whatever. You're not attracting the cream of the crop of society when you're dealing with pro wrestling. That's just how it is. You know, it's pro wrestling. It's fun, yes. It's hilarious. But I don't know if all this gossip and backstabbing took place with old school wrestling of the past. You know, the days of Ray Stevens and Johnny Valentine and Bruno Sammartino and Vern Gagne, you know, with the AWA. I don't know. It might have, because I don't know these people. But they seem much more gentlemanly and more secure in themselves and not as petty and backstabby as they are today. The younger generation pro wrestling, I don't know if it's the writers, Dr. Bill, but everybody seems to cheat nowadays. They have a propensity for cheating, because there's no, like the past, you had the good guys versus the bad guys, you know, the baby faces versus the heels. But today everybody seems to be sleazy. You know, like you got your Randy Ortons. They're not babyface totally, but then again, they're not heels completely. They're somewhere in the middle. Vince McMahon Jr. invented that. You know, he wanted that, the sleaze in professional wrestling. He did not want to do what his father did, you know, with old school wrestling. And that's how it is. It's very backstabby. It's very petty. I feel bad for the workers who get hurt and do not get covered medically. I feel bad for the workers who do not get paid. They don't even get money, like with ECPW. They told me, some people told me, they don't even get money for gas and tolls. Now, granted, all right, it's 2011. It's March 2011. The price of gasoline is very high. Everybody knows that. At least compensate the poor guys, the young workers, that bust their ass in the ring. Compensate them for gas and tolls. If you can't afford, supposedly, if you can't afford to pay them, you know, $50 or so for taking bumps in the ring, at least give them money for gas and tolls. And if they get hurt, man, pick up the tab for the doctor bill. I mean, they're making money for you, for the promoter. So respect the people that make you money. But no, they don't do that. So what happened was, Andrew Anderson called me one time. It was, I believe it was December of 2008 or 2009, because it's been over a year since I've seen and spoke to him. He called me pleading with me to please film Gino's show for the TV taping. Now, at that time, Gino's TV taping was very low budget. Even more low budget than the old Soupy Sales show or Uncle Floyd. It was really pathetic. It was embarrassing. It was the color commentary of Joey G and Gino Caruso. They had no microphones. The music man often did not play the music of the wrestler. The video person did not follow the wrestlers as they came out of the ring. He did not follow the action once the match started. And the camera was crap. And it was really pathetic. But now, because the Wizard Azibuko, my co-worker, did some shows with Pro Wrestling Talk and embarrassed the hell out of the low-cost production, and, you know, I mean, promoted professionalism at all times. Our commercial voiceover specialist, William H. Morrow III, always says professionalism is number one. Your best impression is always your first impression, and that's the one that sticks. And you only have one chance to make a great first impression. And man, if it's not professional, you have to spend money in this American capitalist country to make money. You hear that, promoters? You have to spend money to make money. And to sell tickets, you got to book stars, and you have to have a professional TV taping. Now, granted, the TV taping was very subpar. And, you know, people agreed with me that worked for ECPW. They said, yeah, it sucks. He said, you know, I was told by one person, you don't preach to the choir. We know. And they also know that they got stiffed for money and no gas money, no tolls. Anyway, so because of the Wizard Azibuko's professional wrestling talk, the match, the upper management of ECPW spent the money, and now the TV taping, which I have not seen yet. I'm looking for it. Haven't seen it. I did see a sample of it. It has improved drastically. It's really, really well done now. I do have to give him credit. So anyway, getting back to the story, Andrew Anderson, the reinforcer, pleaded with me, oh, Gino's cameraman doesn't want to drive out here from Long Island 3 hours or something. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe he doesn't get paid. Anyway, please do the TV taping. So, all right. Even though I had to buy a ticket, I don't know why, since I was working that night, why I had to buy a ticket. Pissed me off, really. Anyway, I did the TV taping for 3 hours. The whole TV taping for an entire month. Holding the camera for 3 hours. Couldn't go to the men's room. Couldn't get something to eat. Couldn't go to the bar and get a beer. No. Anyway, long story short, I burned the TV taping, the 3 hours, on a DVD, mailed it to Gino Caruso, the school, ECPW school. Did not get 1 penny, not even the cost of the blank DVD. Did not get paid 1 penny at all. And it took me a whole week of complaining before I got a thank you by email, not by phone. So then, going into the future, Andrew Anderson called me back again a second time and says, please, ECPW, they can't get the crew, they can't get the cameraman, could you do it again? I go, no. I says, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. I'm sorry, I did not get paid, I did not get anything. I refused to do it. So then I hear, Gino Caruso was furious with me. Andrew Anderson was furious with me. Upper management of ECPW generally, the network people, they're all furious with me because I didn't do it. Hey, it's a free country. It's America. I'm allowed to say no. You know, just say no to being a sucker. Just say no to not getting paid. You know. So, and at that time, because Andrew Anderson was angry with me because he was friends with Gino Caruso and ECPW upper management, you know, then what happened was the friendship dwindled to the point where he only called me when he needed a favor, a ride to the school or something. And the relationship was terminated. It ended. And recently, on the internet, via Facebook, he was hurling terrible insults about myself and my work. And, you know, I don't feel guilty one bit because my work speaks for itself. Here at the Newsletter Censored Research Center, our work speaks for itself. We do not feel the least bit self-conscious or guilty because the proof is in the pudding, and our work is impeccable. My partner, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, founded his newsletter in 1977, and his newsletter is based on the real hard-hitting truth, not corporate ass-kissing, okay, the real hard-hitting truth. And we discuss the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing, and current news topics. And we have nothing to hide, and we have nothing to be embarrassed about. And it's a fantastic newsletter. It's one of a kind. I have 5 health and fitness and nutrition certificates. I have a diploma, A+ computer networking diploma. And my partner here has like 4 PhDs. He's an ordained minister. He has a diploma in journalism. He has a diploma in veterinary homeopathy. And the list goes on and on. So our credentials, the quality of our programming, our intelligence overall, we're very deep. We don't deal in the pettiness that goes on in pro wrestling. So I have no patience for the crap. You know what I'm saying? You know, but the insults were terrible, hurled at me, unfounded, almost to a point of obsession, which I really don't understand. And it still goes on. The boys are not getting paid. No gas money, no toll money, no nothing. But I am happy to close this up, that the show has made a drastic improvement. My shillelagh up in the air to congratulate the upper management of East Coast Professional Wrestling for totally improving their product. And I think it's because of my partner, the Wizard Azibuko, in Pro Wrestling Talk. And but I know that's that. It's really a shame that I had to get to this point. But you know what? The Wizard Azibuko and James Piranha Madonna refused to pay $1,500 or $3,000 to some sleazy promoter to get into the business. Here at Newsletter Censored, and when it comes to yours truly, James Piranha Madonna, I take the bull by the horns and I get myself in the business. I don't pay no money to some fucking promoter. Okay, there's no way. That's it. I know my talent. I know my ability. I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay a fee to become a broadcast journalist when I am already a high-esteemed, high-quality broadcast journalist. Not like the ones you see on primetime TV that are corporate ass-kissers that say what the sponsors and what the program managers want them to say. We tell it like it is here. We pull no punches. And I will not pay to get into the business. I'm sorry. And I was told to take a lot of the shows, wrestling shows, off the air because of threat. I was told, quote, all right, Andrew Anderson told me, upper management of ECW says take your color commentary, ECPW Uncensored, off the air because he will sue you, and he has a lawyer that'll do it for free, which I don't really give a flying fuck. But anyway, take it off the air or else. Well, you know, then I found out from Jimmy Liguori, told me his lawyer said, as long as you buy a ticket, you're a paying customer. You could whip out your camera and you could film anything you want. And you don't have to worry about it. Well, you know what? I'm sorry I took a lot of them off the air because they were mine. It was my work. And of course I got in trouble for bringing the great Greg Sorrenzio in on the last show that I did, the Christmas show of I think 2008 or 2009. And there was bad blood between Greg Sorrenzio and ECPW. And I don't know if there still is, but that was the last time. And I caught a lot of heat for having Greg Sorrenzio do color commentary with me. Hey, he was willing to do color commentary with me. A lot of the other people did not want to do it. Because why? Because I was not in the business. They call people like me. I got a lot of nasty email from ECP, no, not a lot, maybe 2 or 3 nasty emails from people connected with ECPW calling me a tall fucking mark. They use the word mark, okay, for people not in the business. People who pay their hard-earned money to buy the tickets to see wrestling. People that watch wrestling from their homes on TV are called marks. So my good friend Jimmy Liguori, otherwise known commonly as Little Jimmy Pesto, told me that the word mark is an old carnival word for, I believe, the people who are on the outside looking in. Is that true?
Suckers.
Oh, mark was used for... Really? The original word mark was invented for suckers?
They're suckers.
You mean like a snake oil salesman?
Exactly. Or the barker at the barker who leads you in to see the bearded lady and the snake boy and
in the carnivals.
In the carnivals, yeah.
All right, so suckers that pay the money where meanwhile the entertainers, the pro wrestlers, are joking about them behind their back, talking about them. Oh, what suckers they are. So, well, of course I was suckered because I did free work and didn't get paid. And I was not in the business. So I was always on the outside looking in. So I had the friendship with him, with Andrew, but I was always on the outside looking in. I was never fully accepted. Except the other workers did treat me very, very well. The ones I mentioned before. I mean, I did get a lot of compliments about my ECPW Uncensored shows. I got a lot of compliments about everything I did, and they shook my hand. They always said hi to me, the other workers. And for some reason, I don't know. I mean, yeah, because I refused to be a sucker any longer. to ECPW upper management, they got mad. Could you see the petty, egomaniacal, psychological makeup of a person who gets mad if you say no to being a sucker? Now, you know, I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, to those people that called me a tall fucking mark, quote unquote, guess what? If the marks found out that a lot of the wrestlers are talking bad about them behind their back, what would happen if a lot of the marks stopped paying money to buy tickets and coming to the show? What happens if a lot of the marks smartened up and did not come to the show and buy the tickets?
Shows fold.
Huh?
Shows fold.
The shows fold. You don't make money. The wrestlers don't get paid. So the fucking marks that you like to talk about behind their back and say negative things about won't come to the shows. There you go. Look at Vince McMahon. I think for a nosebleed seat in the WWE, he wants over $75, or maybe it's more, for a nosebleed seat. I mean, and people pay it. But if everybody knew that they were not respected, almost like the entertainer is better than the spectator. You know, like, you notice that people in the motion picture industry only date other actors and actresses, or they don't really fraternize or mingle with anybody outside of their industry. It's funny how that works. The entertainers have like a close-knit society where they don't really associate with anybody that's not an entertainer. So I don't know if they do this because they think they're better than the spectator, or if it's birds of a feather flock together. I don't know. What's your take on that psychologically? They ostracize you if you're not in the business.
Yeah, one-upsmanship. Better than you.
They think they're better than you because they're in front of a camera in the business.
They're in the know.
They're in the know.
Yeah.
They're a celebrated person.
Yeah.
They're famous. They're popular.
You're just an audience.
You're just
a member of the audience.
And of course, when the groupies chase them around, their ego gets even bigger. You know, we have the id, according to Freudian psychology, the id, the ego, and the superego. Well, id is all emotion, right? It rules the impulses, the primitive emotion. Superego is what is imprinted on you from when you were a baby. And then ego, of course, is your, I guess, your self-worth, right? Self-esteem. Well, their id is huge, and I guess their ego is huge also. But
and they have no superego.
And they have no superego. But they're legends in their own mind. They think they're better than you, but they're really not. But like I said, a lot of the guys were really, really nice to me. But listen, we're on camera. We can say what we want. And I talk to anybody who treats me with respect and talks to me. I will talk to them as an equal. And I will always do that. And no matter how our organization no matter how big our organization, I will always sign an autograph for free. Unlike the prima donnas in baseball, like your Alex Rodriguez's and the commercial model, the other whore there, what's his name, Derek Jeter, and other people in sports that pay a lot of money, charge a lot of money to sign an autograph. I will never ever do that, no matter how successful I become. Doesn't matter. I will always sign free autographs. The Wizard Azibuko will always sign free autographs. And unlike people in the business, in the entertainment industry, and in pro wrestling. But anyway, that's it. Now we will commence with the reading of current news topics from the Bergen County Record. Now we're going to get serious. No pettiness now. Now it's discussions has begun. But like I said, I dedicate the first part of the show to the reinforcer Andrew Anderson. I salute you. I'm very happy for your success, for the commercials that you've done, for your part in the movie, including in horror movies, horror movie actor, commercial model, and two-time ECPW World Heavyweight Champion. I wish you the best of luck in your career, and that's basically it. Anyway, start.
Sexual activity.
Ooh, what a great way to start.
May double a person's chances of having a heart attack.
Oh, that's not good.
Immediately or within 2 hours. Tufts University's researchers reported yesterday.
Okay.
A session of physical exercise may be even more hazardous, tripling the odds of a heart attack within 2 hours, the scientists said in the Journal of the American Medical Association, after analyzing the results of 14 studies. The risks were smaller for people with high levels of habitual physical activity. Sex or exercise increases heart rate and blood pressure, which could contribute to a heart attack or death. The Tufts Research and Health Policy Studies in Boston said, for people who survive the short-term risks, there are long-term benefits from sex and exercising in cutting heart disease.
Okay.
The real clinical take-home message is those individuals who are not regularly exercising, if they would like to start initiating a physical activity program, should do so gradually, because in our data, they appear to be the ones most susceptible to this triggering effect. For their study, Dahabra Palis analyzed 10 trials that looked at occasional exercise, 3 that studied occasional sexual activity, and 1 that looked at both. For every 10,000 people who engage in physical activity for an additional hour a week, only 1 or 2 will have additional heart attacks or die during the course of a year. Patients who were more active physically were less susceptible to heart attacks and death. The risk of having a heart attack fell 45% for every additional time each week that a person regularly exercised. The report did not yield a finding on whether the frequency of sex alone affects the amount of cardiac risk. If you're not active and you try to be active, you could be in trouble, whether you climb 2 flights of stairs or have sex.
Well,
and this is what happens to a lot of people during the wintertime when they shovel snow.
Exactly. Senior citizens should be wary, should really minimize or avoid completely the shoveling of snow. But what I want to say is that exercise, sexual activity, these are all stresses that are put on the body. Now, of course, if your heart is healthy and you do not have a history of heart disease and you do not have hypertension and your doctor says it's fine, you can work out intensely or low impact. It depends. You can do whatever you want, but it does put stresses on the body. But I'm going to, as far as making a general statement and saying that sexual activity or intense exercise automatically will put you in a high risk, even for healthy people, I have to say no.
No, not healthy people. People that, they say, I'm going to start exercising tomorrow.
Without getting themselves checked out.
Gradually entering into it. You do not just start exercising. You have to gradually put yourself into it. Increase it a little at a time, and then it becomes beneficial for you. But not if you just want to say, tomorrow I begin stair climbing.
I'm going to do it.
I'm going to run up to the Empire State Building, the stairs.
Like, let's say a middle-aged man after New Year's with their cockamamie New Year's resolutions that most people don't even finish what they start, decides to say, you know what? I got myself a pot belly, and I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to join a health club. I'm going to do what those guys do in the magazine, and don't even get a doctor's approval, and don't get themselves checked out. But it's very foolish to do so. But then again, I see a lot of foolish things that people do more and more. There's on True TV, there's like a show called World's Dumbest Videos or something like that, and young people, especially young people, they tempt the Grim Reaper.
Ooh.
They tempt death. They have no fear. Esmeralda told me the other day that these people, these young people, feel that they're invincible. And it's amazing the things that they do to tempt death. And and so if they're willing to do stunts like that can kill you in a split second, I mean, they'll think at nothing of doing other more mild things without getting a doctor's approval and getting a complete physical examination to make sure that all of your cardiovascular system, respiratory system, and overall cardiocirculatory system can accommodate such intense training. They don't do it. They should do it.
The closer anything, gets to a black hole, the weirder everything gets. Normal rules do not apply. Space and time act differently than they do in the normal universe. If anything gets too close to a black hole, it will disappear forever. Anything that goes past a certain point will be sucked in to the black hole. Nothing, not even light, can ever escape past that point. This imaginary boundary is called the event horizon.
Isn't that created by supernova star? A star supernova takes place with a sun?
The size of the event horizon depends on the density of the black hole. Event horizons can range from about 6 miles wide to millions of miles wide. Black holes distort or warp space. If you could orbit near the event horizon, you could probably actually see the back of your head.
Really?
The light reflecting from or bouncing off the back of your head would be bent around the black hole to your eyes. We will never be able to see a black hole because light cannot escape from beyond the event horizon. NASA experts and others like to imagine what would happen if we could get near a black hole. This helps us understand the mysteries.
Yeah, let them try to get near it.
For example, we could never really fly into a black hole. Our friends could not really watch it happen. But just imagine if you could. If you decided, for some strange reason, to jump out of your spaceship near a black hole, your shipmates safely far away would see you appear to move slower and slower as you get close to the event horizon. But your friends would never see you actually cross it. To them, you would appear to stay frozen in one place. To you, time would seem to move normally until all the little bits of you were made part of the black hole. A black hole is also called a singularity. All of the stars' matter, and anything else that falls in is packed into this super tiny point that can't really be measured. Some scientists think a black hole might be joined by a kind of bridge to another universe.
Like a wormhole.
A wormhole.
Well, that's the only hope mankind has to interstellar and interplanetary, intergalactic travel. Is not, you cannot, because of Einstein's theory, a human being cannot travel the speed of light and come out of it healthy, from what I understand. But the wormhole's the only way.
Called a wormhole.
Parallel connecting universes together.
It's impossible to travel through a wormhole now.
Because you can't
But
find
who
one.
knows?
Can't create one. Can't find one, right?
Who knows what we'll figure out in the future. This drawing shows a supermassive black hole growing in the center of a galaxy. The black hole is feeding on the donut-shaped cloud of gas and dust.
Donut shape? Sounds like Homer Simpson.
As it feeds, the gas and dust get so hot
Lard Lad
They
donuts.
shoot out X-rays.
Did they say if a black hole has a lifespan? Did they signify the lifespan of a black hole?
We will learn more as I continue.
Oh, there's more.
Have you heard amazing tales about black holes?
Not recently.
Black holes are the most powerful forces in the universe. A black hole is so mighty that nothing can escape it, not even light.
Wow.
It is so powerful that it bends time and space. But no one will ever see one. We have no way of discovering what goes on inside of one. A super big star might be millions of miles wide. At the end of its life, it collapses into a point only a few miles wide. This crunched star core becomes a black hole. A star is a burning ball of gas. When the star is alive, it was a joke.
Oh, I thought you were going to start breaking into Burning Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash or something. Burning Ring of Fire, down, 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 and the flame is getting higher.
The star is a ball of gas.
Burn. Do you like my voice?
And I went...
Oh, I'm sorry. The Ring of Fire, the Ring of Fire.
When the star is alive,
I love me Shillelagh.
gravity tries to pull the star matter into the center or core. At the same time, nuclear explosions in the star push out. The star stays balanced this way until it runs out of its nuclear fuel. Then, the star heats up until it explodes. The outer gas is blown into space as a supernova. The star's core collapses in seconds. The star is big enough. The smashed core becomes a black hole. Our sun is a star, but it is too small to ever become a black hole. A black hole formed from a dying star is called a stellar black hole. A star would need to be at least 25 times heavier than our sun to form a black hole when it croaks and explodes. There are also supermassive black holes that are a million to a billion times bigger than our sun.
Good goobly-goo.
They may have grown and grown by eating stars and gas over billions of years. Or maybe two black holes collided, joining into one super black hole. This drawing shows a super massive black hole in the center of a galaxy. When matter gets too close to the black hole sucks it in. The matter is crushed. It becomes part of the black hole. This way a black hole can get more massive. As the matter is pulled into the black hole, it heats up so much that it gives off radiation such as X-rays or radio waves. This helps us discover black holes.
Interesting. So, well, getting back to the other thing, wormholes is the only practical hope for traveling to other galaxies, interstellar, intergalactic travel. It's the only hope, because you cannot remain in one piece, so to speak, and healthy by attaining the speed of light. The human being just cannot do it. You know, so the wormhole.
Well, now you just said it. The human being cannot do it. But obviously, in the Bible, God, the angels, and Jesus can do it.
Well, of course.
Because Jesus went to heaven and came back in one day.
True. Well, an angel, very extremely, immensely powerful, supernatural, spiritual being.
That's the basis.
You know, and then of course we are living in the end times, so there's plenty of room in that great sauna called the Lake of Fire for all you greedy, sleazy capitalists that like to take advantage of other people and laugh behind their backs.
And actually call yourselves Christians.
And call themselves Christians, counterfeit Christians, hypocrites. They're your friend to your face. And then they screw you and laugh at you behind your back. And they continue to be greedy and exploit. Well, you know what? That great sauna called the Lake of Fire, brother. After the Great Tribulation?
Of course.
Or was it after Armageddon? After Armageddon.
Of course, that doesn't help us in the here and now.
No, because
such as the people in Wisconsin or the other conservative governors who have already attacked unions in their states.
Governor Walker, Governor Chris Christie, they wage war on the poor. They have waged war on the little guy, who is America originally. The backbone of our economy has always been the small entrepreneur, the mom and pop businesses, these small businesses. I mean, society, American society originally always depended on local businesses for everything. And now the fat cats have taken over. They've driven out the small businesses. And it's global plutocracy. And, of course, with the wages going lower and lower and lower, and the cost of living going higher and higher and higher, the ratio is totally off. Your benefits are gone. And they want you to work for practically slave wages.
Well, then if they didn't want you to do that, would they be outsourcing?
No, they would. Well, they outsource and they get away with not paying taxes, Dr. Bill, because they can.
Yes.
Simply because they can. Not
They've had a great propaganda campaign ever since the beginning of the income tax 100 years ago in this country.
They blame unions for everything. They're still blaming unions. Same old bullshit. It's not the unions. They outsource and cut your pay, your salary, your benefits. They outsource.
And they don't pay taxes.
They don't pay taxes. They have offshore tax havens, Swiss bank accounts. They do all these things simply because they can, because the conservative political career politicians are in bed with them, with the big fat cat CEOs, and they do it because they can, not because the economy forces us to do it, the deficit, the unions do it. No, they do it because they get away with it. Look at Goldman Sachs and all the crap, the Wall Street bailouts, but they never bail out Main Street, but they're quick to bail out Wall Street with your tax dollars.
At one time in this country, corporations paid 50% of the taxes.
Right.
In the beginning, when the income tax was mandated 100 years ago or so, 1910, 1913, it was levied upon the top 4%. The principle was well understood that the income tax would fall upon those who had money.
Okay.
Over the years, and the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, early 70s, of course, the tax rate was 91%. Corporations paying over 50% of the taxes.
That's the way it should.
The rich paying the rest.
That's the way it should be.
Yes, exactly what it should be.
That was during Truman and
Eisenhower.
FDR, Truman and Eisenhower.
However, as I said, a massive, beautiful propaganda campaign was done on part of the rich, on behalf of the rich and the corporations, to turn it all around so that the tax burden fell upon the middle class and the little guy. Yes, the little guy, the poor guy. Because you'll always hear them say, well, the poor don't pay any taxes. Well, I'm afraid they do.
Consumption taxes, right?
Correct.
And the middle class have the tax burden unfairly put on their shoulders by Ronald Reagan. Thank you.
That's correct.
But you don't hear, the voters that voted for the current Republican Congress never heard that Reagan is the one that put the tax burden on their shoulders back in the 1980s.
But what has gone away from us today is that that principle. The principle is that they who have the money pay the taxes. We no longer have that today. Today the mantra is, oh, you can't tax the producers. They produce the jobs. No, they do not produce them.
Yeah, in India and mainland China.
They produce them there, though.
They produce the jobs overseas in third world countries. They don't produce the jobs in the United States.
That's correct.
So, you know, when Linda the Lunchbox McMahon, when she was running way back when, it was saying, oh, we need to bring back jobs to this country, jobs, and we have to do it by, you know, not taxing the corporations and the rich. And that same old bullshit, that trickle-down economics produces jobs in the United States. Well, if they prevented outsourcing, I guess you would have trickle-down economics, wouldn't you?
Preventing outsourcing and preventing the destruction of our manufacturing base here in the United States. Taking it elsewhere.
Yeah, then I guess trickle-down would work. But how could trickle-down economics work if they allow outsourcing of jobs? Japan wouldn't do it. I mean, other countries wouldn't do it. Listen, the only fair democracy, when you think about it, is what they have in the European Union. Fair.
Well,
like FDR's...
They don't have to worry about welfare or unemployment or health insurance.
Education.
Education. It's there for them free.
They have a public option. They have the public option for all the basic rights that people in a democracy should have, the necessities.
But the rich have been very successful. Now, for instance, I'm glad to see it getting play now, because a lot of people don't understand it and don't know what's going on. But they are now pointing up that General Electric, with Jeffrey Immelt, which is now Obama's big guy to produce jobs and this, that, and the other thing in this country. General Electric,
a Democrat in bed with a corporate CEO.
General Electric pays no taxes.
And Obama likes him.
Makes like $14 billion, I think, taxes overseas, and maybe $5 or so billion a year. Pays no taxes whatsoever.
And Obama
outsources. And Jeffrey Immelt, like I say, is Obama's big guy to produce jobs and etc. in this country.
So they're
now
playing.
People better start waking up.
So today's Democrats are playing footsie with the fat cat elitists, just like the Republicans.
Yeah, because they're all corporatists.
They're all business people. The two-party system is a fake, phony, and a fraud. It's profits before people with the two-party system. So what you better start doing, people, is start investigating and researching your independent candidates to see if there's a good, qualified, progressive, liberal, independent candidate, which would be the real lesser of the two evils. You know,
but you won't be able to find him because there's no money to find him. What you need to do is the pitchforks and torches, just like the other countries are doing now. Instead of trying to make democracy in those other countries, we should bring it back here to this country.
Hook or by crook.
Because we don't have democracy in this country.
No.
Haven't had it for a long time.
The European Union has the closest thing to FDR's second Bill of Rights. What do you think about that? The closest thing. But I don't know anymore. Since Codex Alimentarius passed in Germany, the evils of corporate CEOs, like corporate America, has infiltrated the European Union.
Tentacles everywhere. Tentacles everywhere.
Tentacles everywhere, and poisoned it. And getting back to the Democrats, how could Democrats be for the little guy anymore if Hillary Clinton, who works for the Obama administration as Secretary of State, was pushing genetically modified, sterile agricultural seeds from Monsanto onto African farmers? Okay, seeds that do not produce other seeds.
Genetically modified foods have never been tested for effects on humans. Never. And they are 70% of our processed foods have genetically modified material in them. 70% of the soy is genetically modified. As I said, if you look on a label,
Yeah.
you won't know that it's been irradiated, because the government, the FDA, whatever, allows the company to not have to say that. It'll give you some kind of crap like cold pasteurization.
Yeah. Just like the government allowed corporations, I guess like Halliburton, to dump their toxins into the aquifers under Bush Cheney.
Well, Halliburton got away with a lot under
Yeah.
Bush and Cheney, for God's sake.
Now-
They were charging $100 to clean a soldier's bag of laundry. They gave them bad food. They gave them bad water.
You're talking about the privatization,
The
of everything,
privatization,
including the military, the troops in Iraq.
All the privatization of the military goes back to Dick Cheney.
The troops did not get the supplies they needed
That's correct.
under
As
privatization.
Mr. Rumsfeld said, well, you got to go to the war with the army you got. No, you do what like Patton said. We got the best army in the world, the best fed army. That's where you go to war with. You got to go to
Why
war.
doesn't Rumsfeld put his ass on the line? He'll never do that, or his
never put
kids,
this-
or his grandkids, or whatever.
No, they don't.
The elitists will never send their kids to Afghanistan or Iraq to fight for oil companies. I mean, so war profiteering of the politicians in Washington.
In the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, the rich paid others to take their place in the military.
Yeah, their kids never got drafted.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, did you get that article from me from the Alliance of Natural Health of something about the FDA putting a gag order on journalists? What the hell was that crap all about? Concerning, well, journalists are pretty much bought out by the
They're not
fat
really
cats
bought out.
anyway.
They can't say anything. They work for corporations.
So if they say something, they get fired.
GE owns NBC. What do you think? NBC is going to come on and say something bad about GE?
Even though it's the truth. No,
Yeah,
no,
of
they're not
course
going
not.
to do that. Just like a lot of people, getting back to the beginning of this show, a lot of people in pro wrestling won't come out and tell the truth about the promoters that are stiffing them. Hey man, you're working for free. Why don't you say it like it is? You're being suckered. You're working for free. When you get hurt, your doctor bill's coming out of your pocket. The promoter's not paying for it. Oh, speaking of that, I forgot to say that way back when one of my idols, Jesse Ventura, was doing color commentary for Vince McMahon for the WWE. When he was doing that, Jesse Ventura was going to start a brand new either nationwide or worldwide union for professional wrestlers, and at that time Hulk Hogan squealed on Jesse Ventura to Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon somehow put a stop to it. I guess, what do you think? He might have told Jesse Ventura, you're out of a job if you start a union? Pro
Or he might
wrestlers,
have went down to the people below. You don't join a union or else.
or else you lose your job, right?
Yeah.
That's probably how they do it, the fat cats, right?
Sure.
Oh, you want to join a union?
Hey,
Well,
in the
you're
old days,
fired.
they did it with the police, the Pinkertons, the National Guard. You know, they shoot you.
You mean
Kill you.
hired
thugs.
Hired thugs.
Yeah.
Well, the little guy.
The American Legion, you should remember, in the Hidden Agenda. The American Legion was strike breakers back in the 30s.
Well, guess
the big
what?
boys.
Guess what? Like I said, either last week or the week before, when those soldier ants in the Amazon jungle go on a rampage, and there's a lot of them, there's hordes of them, there's hundreds of thousands of them, and they're very angry and they're very desperate, they can overwhelm the elephant. If torches and pitchforks. We're going to take a break. All right? Okay, we are back from break. I want to thank everyone for joining us for this week's discussions here at the Newsletter Censored Research Center in Northeastern New Jersey. You know, before I do a promo, I like that Andrew Cuomo. He has a lot of spunk. He's a Democrat with spunk. You know, I mean, he's got that great personality when he gives speeches, you know, and he inspires you. And but you were telling me something about
his main
him.
squeeze is Sandra Lee.
Sandra Lee?
From the cooking channel.
Oh, from the Food Channel?
Food Channel.
He's dating her?
Sandra Lee, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned one other thing about Andrew Cuomo. I'm trying to remember.
He will not raise taxes. Code word for not raising taxes on the rich.
Oh, he won't raise taxes on the rich.
Correct.
What is with today's Democrats about that subject? They
don't understand how to get rid of a deficit. You get rid of a deficit by increasing revenue. You increase revenue by taxing the rich, as it was meant to be back in 1913.
Now,
when the income tax was instituted.
Is that perhaps a form of corporate kissy ass on the part of the Democrats?
It's called a big, great, massive propaganda campaign that's been going on for at least the last 30 years, really top heavy.
So the Democrats are sucking up to the rich and not making them pay their fair share in taxes. Not only because maybe they're funding their campaigns, but also that they're brainwashed in believing that bullshit, that Reaganomics, trickle-down Reaganomics bullshit about not taxing the rich creates jobs in the United States.
And that the rich are producers, whereas those on welfare are slobs. Little people, drags on society.
Dregs of society. What did that one, was it a congressman or senator who called someone collecting Social Security disability he had a detrimental thing, like a second-class citizen? He made some remark about somebody on a fixed income. Yeah. People on fixed incomes were almost like second-class citizens.
Yeah.
And this is was it a conservative Republican who said this?
Who knows? But that's the propaganda. That's the mind thinking. Anybody who's on the dole is not pulling his fair share. But they never say that about the rich. Isn't it funny? The rich don't work.
Right, but it's okay.
There aren't too many Warren Buffetts, rich people, who actually go to a desk and work.
But it's okay for a Warren Buffett and other elitists to receive Wall Street bailouts, which is welfare.
Exactly. But what about subsidies for GE and the oil companies? These are welfare payments.
Okay.
That's fine.
But it's fine when the rich get it.
Yeah.
When the rich get the Wall Street bailouts, it's fine.
Yeah.
When the little guy applies for social services, it's very bad.
As I
But
say,
it's the same thing.
$125 billion from the bailout, given to the states appropriately, would have solved all their financial problems.
Okay.
But we didn't look at it that way. We had to give all the money to the banks.
Okay.
The banksters. You see.
We had to give all the money.
Wisconsin would have no problem today. Not that they have one anyway. The reason they have a shortfall is because Governor Walker gave money to the rich.
Right. Well, didn't you say that if you trimmed how much money off the bloated military was that?
At least $800 billion could be taken from there without a problem.
And how?
America spends, if you spend $200 billion, you're still outspending the rest of the world in their militaries.
And that would make a significant contribution to
$800 billion.
Ending the deficit.
The deficit right now is 1.3 trillion.
1.3 trillion. So
that would mean 500 billion left.
So
somewhere.
Conservative.
Just stop the subsidies to all the companies, the big companies, and interest on the debt, and you got your 1.3 trillion. You'd have no deficit. Remember, Clinton left office with no deficit. Mr. Bush was left with $125 billion surplus.
Oh, by the way, banks, the American banking industry, you people really suck. My mother read, not my mother, I'm sorry. Esmeralda read a letter from Bank of America, right? The Bank of America is raising their fee for the regular personal checking account, I think from $9 to $12. Like you have to maintain a minimum
balance.
A minimum, like your direct deposit, there has to be a specific minimum. And if you don't meet that required increased minimum direct deposit monthly, your banking fee, your fee for a personal checking account will go from $9 to like $12 or $13, something like that. They suck. They are greedy corporatists. They really, really suck. And I hope a lot of people that need to in this bad economy go bankrupt, really, and stiff them. But they'll write it off on their taxes anyway, right?
There's well over 1 million people going bankrupt anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you are.
If you stiff them, they just raise more fees. You see,
Obama's reform. Where are the reforms?
There are none.
It's a lie.
You should not have expected any.
He says what he has to say to get elected, is what you're trying to say. He's continuing to kiss ass with the elitists. Hey, from what I heard on one of Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theory episodes, when it used to be on True TV, now you don't see any, not even the reruns. Barack Obama, at that time Senator Obama of Illinois, and Hillary Clinton, I believe, the both of them were seen invited and going into a Bilderberg meeting, Bilderberg convention or whatever, secret society.
We were supposed to get out of the Iraq
New World Order, yeah.
Supposed to get out of Afghanistan, and now we're in Libya. Where's the difference?
Do you think the Democrats are involved with war profiteering also?
Well, of course they are. All of what did Halliburton disappear because the Republicans are Bush and Cheney are out of office?
No.
No, it's still doing its work. It's corruption. It's whatever around the world.
Yeah.
Come on.
You know, the two-party system is a fake, phony, and a fraud. They're all corrupt. They're all evil. They're all representing the devil's economics.
That's correct, but the devil's economics it includes business. Business, not just politics. Business.
So what happens is the conservative Republicans, with the elitists behind them, are well-funded. Their campaigns are very well-funded, and they control the media and the blowhorn to get their agenda across. And the Democrats use compassion for the little guy and the poor as a way of winning elections. But after they get elected,
they don't win too many elections.
Yeah, but after they get elected, all that I feel your pain and the compassion for the poor, and the little guy goes out the window.
Well,
basically.
That's the problem. You see, we got a problem in the way that politics is set up. We got a problem in thinking that someone is going to solve our problems.
All politics is pathological.
That's correct. We have to solve our problems. And there is the problem. We no longer have a we. We have individuals looking out for themselves. Okay? That is how the setup is.
It's a get way of life.
Not
the give way of life.
Not the give.
It's all about me, 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 me.
Or community.
Me
or
generation.
Civilization or family. These are unions. These are unions. How come when these conservatives are always attacking unions and stuff, they don't attack the AMA? That's a union.
American Medical Association?
Correct. How about Big Pharma? It's a union.
Talk about corrupt and greedy.
How about the Chamber of Commerce? It's a union.
But if you're part of the elitists,
yeah, then it's okay.
Then it's okay.
Just like welfare for the elitists is fine. But a little pittance for a poor slob, oh my God, that's sacrilege.
So the man, quote unquote, the fat cats, the elitists, are hypocrites.
No kidding, but that's the least of what they are.
At least, yeah.
They care about that? They care because someone's going to call them a hypocrite?
No, well, they're trying to rewrite the Bible.
Jeez.
So, in other words, they're amoral.
They want the Bible for you to adhere to, not them.
So they're amoral.
They'll preach it to you. Like my father used to say, religion is to keep people quiet.
Like drugging a psychiatric patient.
That's
like
correct.
they're walking around like a zombie.
Yeah. So at least they don't get into trouble.
They're drugged up. They're walking zombies. They don't question what you do and say. They don't bother you.
Yeah.
So so it's like the what's it? The opium of society.
The opium of the masses.
The opium
religion.
of religion.
That's what Marx said. Karl Marx. Religion is the opium of the masses.
Keeps you from revolting. Keeps you in check.
Keeps you from questioning.
Questioning authority. Well, it's like if you're in college and your professor is a horse's ass and he's wrong, and you can prove that he or she is wrong, and then he's got you pegged as a troublemaker.
And you'll be sitting in the principal's office or the dean's office or whatever.
Or maybe he'll give you a bad grade.
Or a bad grade.
Similar to the office politics of professional wrestling. Office politics, like the great Greg Sorrenzio told me, with Vince McMahon, it's more or less kissing front and not kissing ass, if you get my drift. Kissing front, kissing ass, office politics. Greg Sorrenzio says you have to pet them in the business because they're egomaniacal. You have to pet them. You have to tell them nice things and give them compliments. Sounds like an insecure person to me. You know, that needs to be petted, needs their ego to be stroked.
And those people, when they get into positions of power, look out.
Isn't that similar to dictators around the world, like
yeah.
Muammar Gaddafi, Howard Gaddafi? I'm sorry, Muammar. Or is it Homomar?
He's one ugly dude, man.
Muammar. What is that Franciscan, that brown UPS colored Franciscan monk style robe he's wearing?
Get up he's got on there.
Yeah, isn't he friends with Chavez, with Chavez, Julio? What's his name?
Chavez is, I think he's sucking up to China.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's importing Chinese and Russian military weapons and stuff.
Yeah. Gee, mainland China sure forgot about Mao Zedong and the Communist Party and seem to have embraced capitalism.
Well, they haven't forgotten communism, but they are darn good capitalists.
They're using it to their advantage.
Yeah, they certainly are.
So
that's why the conservatives over the years have sucked people in to believing this connection between democracy and capitalism. It does not exist, as you can see with Red China.
Yeah, and also the propaganda, the conservative propaganda in America have brainwashed people to think that if it's socialist and it's communist, it's evil and it's in league with Satan. It's the devil's economics. And then if it's capitalism, it's godly. If you're liberal, you're evil. If you're conservative, you're a good Christian. This is all part of the propaganda machine coming from the conservatives.
And obviously it's worked well over the years.
People are lemmings, led over the cliff, led by the nose over the cliff into the sea of despair. They have been suckered to believe the conservative propaganda. That's why they embraced the Tea Party. All of these overtaxed, tax-burdened middle-class people who are protesting, and rightfully so, have been suckered by ideology, not proven cold, hard scientific fact, but by ideology, to vote for the Republican Tea Party people and believe the conservative propaganda, and they don't know the real truth, or they don't want to know the real truth. They're not told the real truth.
They have no fear of big business, but they fear big government.
Oh yeah,
which is supposed to be their government. Why should they fear it?
Why is big government the enemy when the real enemy is big business? Who would you rather have run the United States? A corporate CEO or big government? Big government who has compassion for the poor and would tax the rich to pay for your charitable, compassionate social programs, or have, like that jerk that was defending Walmart, that guy says, oh, we need Walmart CEOs to run the country. Oh, sure, that'll be a great America, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, I think he would spell it at that time China. China.
China and slave labor. You want to work for less than minimum wage with no benefits and no hope? Well, sure, then put corporate CEOs in charge in Washington. Oh, you'll see how fast you become a slave.
I got news for you. They are in charge now. Under Bush, they wrote the laws. Corporations.
All right, let me get to the heart of the matter. This newsletter that was founded in 1977 by my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, Newsletter Censored, is the very backbone of our organization. This is what we're all about. This newsletter discussed the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. This newsletter reveals the real hard-hitting truth that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? And if you go to our homepage, which is www.newslettercensored.com, read all of the hard-hitting information, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, you will receive your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. You need Newsletter Censored. Okay, this newsletter will teach you how to defeat a conservative. This newsletter reveals things that nothing else in the mainstream media reveals. Okay, you need, in the end times, you need Newsletter Censored. Okay,
and,
now.
By the way.
Yeah. There's a new one coming out soon.
Yeah, and the sexuality, a holistic approach, this particular time, is dealing with a subject that you don't really hear much about or see much about.
Yeah.
Unless maybe you pull up a Hustler or something.
Yay.
Anal sex.
Really?
This particular issue, yes.
Wow. Now,
a holistic approach towards anal sex.
You know what? That's the first time that Newsletter Censored ever came out, ever touched upon that subject. It's a rarity. The first time, right?
Well, that's because that's the particular chapter of the book.
Because anal sex has always been a sort of taboo with human sexuality.
Taboo.
And you will totally explain in deep detail, scientific and psychological detail.
Deep detail.
You know, I wasn't even thinking about that. In deep, you know, the stiff shillelagh, in deep detail.
There you go.
Anal sex and a lot of sexuality, a holistic approach, also promotes the teachings of the late great Dr. Wilhelm Reich, to some extent.
Well, he was one of my mentors, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Now, this guy next to me, this is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist, and you can view the William J. Eisenman collection of fine watercolor paintings signed by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. You can go to www.newslettercensored.com. You can go to www.myspace.com/Megalife21. You can go to the William J. Eisenman Facebook profile and, you know, befriend him, join his friends list, but you can view the paintings. If there is any painting that you like, just send him an email and if the painting is available, you can purchase an authentic, original William J. Eisenman, Ph.D., the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. You can purchase an original painting. The starting price is $500, the starting bid rather, and check it out. And of course, he's always painting new projects, you know, but you know, right now he's so busy with trying to get out the new newsletter that
it's at the editor's
he slowed down. Is that the editor now?
It's at the editor's desk right now. So hopefully it will be out way before Easter.
And hopefully the editor will not procrastinate.
Yeah. If you heard, I told her on the phone today, ASAP.
You're very tolerant.
As soon as possible.
You are very tolerant of your editor.
I am tolerant.
The editor would have gotten canned by other CEOs a long time ago for the...
funny, we were talking about anal sex, and now you bring up canned?
That wasn't an act. That wasn't. That was totally like by accident. I did not plan that. You know, you set me up with these.
I know.
And I set you up. You know, it totally ad-libbed and unrehearsed here at Newsletter Censored and Mega Life 21, just like Jackie Gleason used to do with the Honeymooners. But anyway, yeah. I mean, you have been very tolerant of the you're the managing editor. She would be the copy editor,
yeah.
Shell Monroe. And usually she does procrastinate. But anyway, I suppose she still is the copy editor, and everything is squared away.
I guess we have to institute spanking within the office. That's about the only way I can see.
Disciplinary action.
Yeah.
Disciplinary action. Was Spanky McFarlane, did he have a spanking fetish or no?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Anyway, now, okay, that's good. So, if you like any of the paintings, drop them a line, and thank you for joining us for this week's discussions, which was an analysis of the professional wrestling industry. Okay, first-hand analysis. A candid view of professional wrestling, not from the promoter's view, but from, I guess you would say, the lay person who was involved in the industry, so to speak, an honest view. And then, of course, I dedicate the show to my bosom buddy, the Reinforcer Andrew Anderson commercial model. Horror movie actor, very well established, and also two-time ECPW World Heavyweight Champion, Andrew Anderson, and one of the stars of the Golden Globe award-winning movie titled The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. I know, I was going to say that. I did not forget. Mickey Rourke and Marissa Tomei, and I dedicate it to him. Anyway, we'll see you next time on Discussions. Getting back to the real deep, important topics that we normally discuss. No more superficial, petty, frivolous crapola like professional wrestling. We're going to get down to business by reading very important headline news articles that are applicable to society and the world and humanity today. That involve the 5 taboos of American life. So, say so long to everybody.
Hasta la vista.